Before we begin, please know that some episodes include language that may be sensitive for some people. Welcome to another episode of The Birth Portal. My name is Connie. Today's true story happened in my final year as a midwifery student. It was a hot, dry summer night in a newly developed community. This was not this mother's first birth, thank goodness. This was also a planned home birth. I mention this as some home births are not planned, and we'll get into those stories in another episode. This woman I'll call Julie was more than 37 weeks gestation. And she went into labor spontaneously. My preceptor, midwife, and I arrived to her home in the middle of the night, and she was in well-established labor, having good, strong, regular contractions. Julie wanted to labor in the bathtub, as water can be a great form of pain relief. Not completely, but definitely some relief. After some time, she asked if there was anything that we could do to speed things as she was getting tired. We reminded her of the option to rupture her membranes. That's the bag of water the baby lives in. The water's actually called amniotic fluid. Sometimes, by breaking the membranes, that can help shorten labor because it can allow the baby's head to be firmly against the cervix, which can make for more effective contractions. Julie talked to her husband, and they decided to have her membranes ruptured, understanding the risks and benefits. She moved slowly from the tub to the bed. We put lots of soaker pads under to absorb the fluid. When I checked her cervix, it was well dilated. However, something didn't feel right or familiar to me. It was like I could feel her coccyx, which is the end of the tailbone. It was curved more forward than I had felt on anyone before, and I wasn't sure if it would impact the birth. So I asked my preceptor to check and rupture her membranes. My preceptor checked her and felt that the coccyx was not an issue and proceeded to rupture Julie's membranes. There was a gush of clear amniotic fluid, and my preceptor said, "Julie, you're fully dilated." "Oh, wait, no, you're 7 centimeters. No, you're fully dilated. Okay, you can start to push." I stepped back into position to catch the baby, and we called the backup midwife to come. In Ontario, the model of midwifery requires 2 midwives to attend a woman in childbirth. Julie is well supported by her husband. She has pillows behind her, and she begins pushing with each contraction. Before too long, we see she's making great progress as her vaginal tissue begins to push outward. I get into a proper position to catch the baby, and suddenly I see thick, black meconium coming out of Julie's vagina. Meconium is the bowel movement or poop coming from the baby. I say out loud to my preceptor, "I don't think we have a head coming first." She immediately bumps me aside and sees what I'm talking about. We have a baby coming bum first, also called a breech birth. There are different types of breech lies. A breech lie is the way in which the baby is sitting in the uterus. Some are more risky than others. Frank breech, being the safest or the less risky, is what we're dealing with. This is when both of the baby's legs are above its belly, and only the bum of the baby is coming first, hence all the meconium coming out. Just then, their daughter opens the bedroom door, rubbing her eyes, wondering what's going on. I calmly say to the dad, "Go pick her up and bring her to the head of the bed with you." Then the backup midwife walks in and is informed of what is happening, and the paramedics are also called. All of these events are happening so fast. As we are in a rural location, we call the obstetrician on call for the local hospital, who is in bed sleeping, to inform him of the situation. Midwives, doctors, and nurses can often do courses together for training of emergency skills, like in a breech birth. Julie's bum is moved to the edge of the side of the bed. I am on my hands and knees beside her, with my head at the edge side, watching what the midwives are doing, and repeating what the obstetrician is saying on the phone. This is before cell phones and speakerphones. The midwives were ahead of the instructions, and the baby came easily. However, the baby did need help breathing, so the 2 midwives quickly attended to the baby. I thought that I'd get off the bed and help the woman with the delivery of her placenta. That's the organ attached to the uterus that's feeding the baby oxygen and nutrients. As I jump off the bed while still talking to the doctor, I catch the phone line with my foot and pull it completely out of the wall, disconnecting the doctor. Just then, the paramedics show up, running up the stairs. Remember I said it was a hot, dry summer night in a newly developed community? Well, just before the paramedics came, there were water trucks that drove through the area, spraying water to keep the red clay dust down. The paramedics have boots with a thick tread that picked up this red clay, and when they came upstairs to the bedroom, they brought the red, wet clay all the way up the beautiful white carpet on the stairs and throughout the bedroom. As well, at the edge of the bed, where Julie delivered the baby, was a large area with blood, meconium, and amniotic fluid. The paramedics transported the baby to the hospital. Meanwhile, we stitched up Mom's perineum, that's the skin between the vagina and the rectum, that often needs a few stitches. We then drove to the hospital where Mom joined her baby, where all was well. I stood outside with the other midwives, looking at the night sky, feeling a sense of awe at what just transpired. I appreciated the relationship between the doctors, the paramedics, and the midwives during the time of an emergency. There was a sense of respect, calmness, yet urgency, with all ending well. At our next home visit the following morning, I was surprised to see all the staining in the beautiful carpet was gone, thankfully, and the family was settling in nicely. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Birth Portal.